r/Askreddit, college students of Reddit, what is your group project horror story? Took an environmental sciences class in undergrad. Had to do a group conservation project, basically just checked all the recycling bins on campus and considered possible improvements in placement. My group was myself, 3 sorority freshmen, and a guy who barely spoke English. I coordinated, gave everyone assignments, gave myself about 40% because I had an easy term, and divided 60% among 4 people. Day before due date. Nothing done. I had to go through every building and do the entire thing myself. Then I bombed them on the evaluation. Fair is fair. Good job. I bombed someone in an evaluation who didn't show up to one outside meeting or respond in a group chat and had the audacity to text me privately and ask why I bombed her in the evaluation. People are very salt-entitled. Web design class. For some reason we had to make a website together as a group. Not even a complicated one, just one that worked both on mobile devices and on a regular computer screen. I was responsible for the shell of the site and I made it pretty self-explanatory for my group members. It was literally change these colors to the right ones and remove my filler content and replace it with the actual content. I send it off working perfectly, I get it back and it's a huge mess. They each tried to edit my code and as a result the pictures aren't scaling to size anymore, among other things. I sent a copy of my shell to the professor so he knew what they turned in wasn't what I built. Got an A. I don't know what they got. We actually got graded separately on our components on that assignment. We love when it's graded separately so when the group chat lights up because they got a bad grade, you can be petty. First semester of our first year, history. We were tasked with a group presentation, 4 of us in each group, on anything of our choosing as long as it's somehow related to the French Revolution. We opt for Napoleon's rise to power as it's a fairly easy topic. On the build-up to the day we present, myself and 2 others have all completed and compiled their slides, but of course we're still waiting to even hear anything off of the 4th person. It comes to the deadline day and whilst we await our turn we receive an email from the elusive 4th person that they will not be coming in and that they attach their slides. Finally. However, we are greeted with a couple of white slides with some very poorly attempted bullet points that have very little continuation with the rest of our work. Needless to say we didn't score very high on that one. I believe she was retiring at the end of that semester. Good riddance, too. I was not a fan. Games design course, we end up in a group of 5, have around 3 months to create a concept of a game based on an existing property. I'm doing story, we have one guy doing art, another doing marketing, and the project lead was delegating tasks and holding meetings each week. Then we come to our programmer. He was given a fairly simple task. Get a prototype version of the game running. Now, I understand where he was coming from. This wasn't our final major project. None of this was going to get developed further after the project ended, so why bother? But he turned in the most basic, bare-bones possible build of the game, which we had to present in front of the class. Literally just a blob that floated around on in a small empty space, with a sword that had no functionality whatsoever. It was meant to be a fighting game, but there was no way you could tell that from what was displayed. What made it worse was later on in the course we had a short 2-hour competition to again come up with an asset for a game. In that 2-hour session he got more done than in the entirety of the 3-month project we had worked together on. Presumably because this time there was a prize for whoever developed the best concept. Learned this the hard way, haha. Self-correcting mistake. I blame it on me being young and naive at the time. I was the horror story. It was a business class and I just could not figure out how to do my part of the project. So instead of asking my group mates how to go about doing it, I let my shyness and anxiety take over. I tried researching on the internet on how to do it. I thought I found something similar to what I needed to do and copied it and handed it into them. I'm sure that would not have been too bad except I didn't show up for class for like a week. Then I got an email from the group saying I was kicked out. Moral of the story, don't be afraid to ask for help when you don't know something. Very true. I was a bit out of my element though. Some of my classmates were trying to get into Iowa's writer's workshop. I was a sheep among wolves. Later on, a film teacher of mine did enjoy a few screenplays I came up with. So it evened out a bit. Cheers. I took lit and some writing classes in college but was terrible at them. Enjoyed the art form and wanted to understand them better. My job in the project was to write up some scenes and create a setting for our story. I had no experience in that or was given any examples of it but still gave it a try. The girl who was the most experienced looked at it and asked, "What is this?" She scrapped it and never really directly spoke to me after that. Let's just say I never became confident at writing after that. We're not too worried, we've made great progress and we'll have everything done on time. Just sucks that this person is gonna get away with it with most likely just a slap on the wrist. That's a learning lesson in and of itself. I was doing a video project which involved a lot of acting. Not for a film class, but whatever. Around this time, I'd been taking care of my mom, who'd gotten bronchitis. Guess what happens during this project? Yep, I catch mom's bronchitis and get very sick. I was out of class for most of the project, so, 2 weeks. I came back the day before the project was due, and the girl who led the project slapped me with the editing job, telling me that I had been lazy and needed to help. Yes, I get it, but I was still recovering and felt like shit. Not to mention, I had literally no experience with editing, nor did I have editing software on my computer. I stayed up until 3 a.m., trying to learn how to edit a video without any experience beforehand. I left it to load and went to sleep. Next morning, I went to the computer and saw that the project failed to load. I panicked, then contacted my professor to say that the project didn't load. I came into class, feeling like my grades would be dead. By some miracle, my best friend, who was also in the project with me, had done the editing job the previous night and had turned in the project. She just hadn't told me. I was relieved, but pissed, because I essentially wasted a ton of time for no reason because someone didn't like that I got sick. So you were the bad partner. I understand getting sick, but when you drop off the earth for 2 weeks you need to at least try and make accommodations and do what work you can, not come back after 2 weeks, be given what little is left, and then get pissed you wasted time when someone finished your part probably knowing you wouldn't get it done. I know. I guess I should have specified that 1. I had already done a lot of work on this project beforehand, primarily in script writing, of which there was a lot. 2. It literally took me 1 day to get sick, and I tried to contact the project leader, but apparently, she either didn't get my emails or didn't care. That changes things. If you did work, that changes the dynamic. Currently it's my senior capstone project. Basically some companies gave our school some side projects and we have 5 teams of 4 to work on them. The company also gave us a mentor to help guide us through the project. When it started my team was great, I knew everyone on it and we were excited to do this project. Then we got our roles and the person assigned to be our team leader basically fell off the face of the earth for 3 months. We eventually emailed the professors about him and they basically just had a meeting with him and told him to start helping. Well, that made things worse cause his work was sloppy and we had to constantly fix it. He's disappeared again, so me and the rest of the group talked about whether we should report him again and we decided not to as we knew the professors wouldn't do anything in order to make sure everyone graduates. So we're doing a 4-man job with 3 people, but we get a lot more done cause we don't have to go back and fix all his work. In my capstone project, 1 guy dropped the class before it started, so we were shorthanded. Then at the end, the client ghosted us. For what it's worth, the project was pretty experimental anyway. Client wanted to represent population data with Kurnoff faces. Turns out, you can only have so many values before the whole thing turns into an unintelligible mess. We did our part though, so we passed. Dang, sounds like my capstone. Even though it was 4 in our group, only me and 1 other guy did the work. I had an intro to engineering class where we randomly assigned to groups of 5 at the beginning of the semester. These would be our group members for the entire course, and unfortunately, 3 of the members did absolutely nothing. I was the group leader, again, randomly assigned, but I'm glad it worked out that way, so I was in charge of submitting the projects. These people wouldn't even respond in the group chat when I asked them direct questions. When they did do any work, it usually didn't follow the directions. My failing was that I wasn't assertive enough to ask them to proofread their work, so I and the one guy who actually did his work with no issue ended up floating the team in doing virtually all of the assigned work. That's bad from them to tell the individual that you bombed their evil. You need anonymity in order to promote honesty. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to Binge at Reddit for more Reddit content. If you have any constructive criticism on how I can improve my videos, please let me know. Otherwise, have a nice day and binge beautifully.